kind of made some mistakes. We had 86 videos recorded to throw up for you guys, and someone, you know, I won't mention my own name, but I kind of put on time lapse, so it was all useless. Anyway, so we're gonna regroup here. Yes, the volume's on. We've made that mistake too. We're new to this, okay? We're working on it. My girlfriend decided to name this project Knuckin' Futz because, well,
we are!
We basically are for taking this project on to do what we're doing. So, like I said, she started out as a good old F-150. We lopped about 2 foot of the frame off the back, put our own 4-link under it. Got rid of the 8.8, I think it was under there, put in a 10.5 Sterling. We got rid of the TTB, thank God, and put in Dana 60, wherever it is. It's hanging out over there on the stand because we're doing some welding on it right now. She's blue, as you can tell. This will be the color we're going to go with. It's a little dirty right now because we've been working on it, oh my God, non-stop.
2 years, almost.
Plus or minus, I mean, she got the paint about a year ago, and then we've been working on it, so I got a little bit of rust up here to deal with, whatever. That's for later. The drivetrain there, we've got we started out life as a 351, it's a 362 now. High compression, big cam, some really nice heads. C6 trans and a 4407T case. But the premise of this build was simply no kits whatsoever. This whole thing is built by us. We've made
designed in-house.
Yeah, it's all designed in-house.
No out-of-house parts.
The only thing we bought in was the Heim joints, realistically, for all the stuff we're doing. Of course, we're going to buy a steering piston and all that, and the orbital valves and stuff. We could make them, but no. Yeah, Ray would shoot me. But anyway, the other thing is, to show you can build something really cool with some basic tools. We don't have arc droids. We're not sponsored. We don't have Harbor Freight dumping tools in our lap. We're using angle grinders with a, what, a 4-inch, a 7-inch, whatever disc we got with them. The mill and lathe, okay, not everyone has access to that. I'm pretty sure everybody that does. But, an old welder, old arc welder, and well, in the MIG welder. That's pretty much what we got. This cage is actually fully arc welded. It's pretty strong, to say the least. 3/16 box tubing. And we did the box tubing thing because everyone does round tubing. You see it everywhere. There's very few people that use square, but because we love math, we decided to turn everything on a 45. So that's that. Front half of the cage isn't here right now. I got it over at my place. It's already been painted, prepped, ready to go. We got a bumper that we built out of, I think, 23 individual pieces of 1/4-inch steel. The rear, which is something we've been working on back there, is it's actually a little toolbox trunk area. It's kind of cool. That was all Ray's design and idea. So as you can see, the interior is kind of a mess. We've stashed a lot of stuff in here for this project. Just keep it out of the way and keep it in the truck, or with the truck, so to speak. Factory Ford column, dash. The only thing that's really going to be different from factory is we're using a sniper system, so we'll hang the dash for it, so to speak, over here somewhere. And the radio hole, you're not going to hear a radio in this truck anyway, so we're probably going to end up putting a trans temp gauge there and a power steering temp gauge in the dash, because I want to monitor those two. We got our lights here as well, just random lights we're going to put on. These will go between the B and C pillar top of our cage, and then these little six pod lights we'll put at the top of the C pillar facing backwards and whatnot, so you can see what's behind us at night. Yeah. So we get all sorts of stuff like that in here. Yeah, like this box, it's just random stuff for the front bumper. It's actually got the pin for the hitch receiver ordeal we're putting in there. Master cylinder's in here right now just because we're working out there and didn't want to set on fire. You know, yeah. I mean, so one thing we are going to have to modify we didn't think about beforehand was the shifter. Now we took the drivetrain out of this 2 days ago because we're actually getting ready to transport her. But with the transfer case in, the shift knob's like ½ inch from the dash, which is kind of a problem. We got to modify that a little bit. But anyway, the only real modification we did in here, the rubber floor. We put vinyl floor. We put a vinyl floor in it. Patched up all the holes. Put a little paint on her here and there where she needed it, you know, the door jambs and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, other than that, she's pretty factory on the inside. The only thing I wish this truck had that doesn't is a tack in the dash, but it is what it is. On the Sniper display, it has one. It has an RPM display, which is fine. But we'll get all the other gauges working. It does have the dual fuel pump option, which we are going to utilize. And the fuel tank will have 2 pumps in there that are operated off the factory switch. One dies, flip to the other one, and keep going. Hopefully, that's the idea. We have our mascot, Mr. Bones.
All the trucks have ducks.
Yep, all the trucks have ducks, and we're not trying to copy the Jeeps. It's a duck thing. I don't know. It's ducking ridiculous. But anyways, so that's Mr. Bones. He's our truck mascot. He'll live on the dash eventually. Other than that, really, we have our switch panel, which 10 different functions. One of them will be kind of a kill switch, almost a master kill. Main reason for that, I'm kind of anal about electrical stuff. I want a way to kill every bit of electrical power to this truck. Should we have an issue, a rollover, a stick comes in, jabs a wire into the frame or whatever, grounds, and it starts a fire, you can kill the power, done. So that's what that's about. Not to mention the 9 other circuits, electric fans, we'll have a compressor on here. The rock lights, the work lights, the side light, we'll have all sorts of lighting on this thing. It'll be like a Christmas tree, just in blue and white. But anyway, so that's basically the interior. I mean, it's got the back seat, it's factory, there's nothing special back there. But yeah, we actually had this whole cabin interior stripped down to basically nothing. And we took out a lot of the factory systems, the rear ABS and whatnot, that's all gone. We don't like to just cut wires and no. Everything has been, all the bulkheads have been pulled apart and unpinned. So there's no loose wires hanging around. Aside these, which do have a purpose in life, that's for the gauges. We don't like just cutting wires, letting them hang loose and possibly touching stuff. So we actually unpin everything. I've had that bulkhead apart 10 times trying to do that properly.
And there's no power to the truck whatsoever right now.
No, not right now, no. We don't have the batteries in it. Yes, batteries. If someone has ever tried looking for a passenger side battery tray factory for one of these things, good luck. I really do wish you the best of luck. They're kind of a nightmare to find, at least a good quality one. But anyway, so that's the interior. Alright, so here we got the rear axle. We decided to go with a 10.5 Sterling. We're kind of keeping this whole thing Ford. We're not a big fan of cross branding. We're not going to drop an LS in this thing. That's just never going to happen. We're keeping it Ford. That's the challenge of the build, so to speak. But anyway, so 10.5 Sterling. This truss is our design. Just a piece of, I think it's a 2x3 quarter wall box, up and around, blah, blah, blah. Got our rear links, or upper links mounted to it. All our link tabs are 3/8 and welded both sides. Are pretty solid. Diff cover here, we bolted on a couple days ago. That's our design. We went ahead and took a factory diff cover, traced it out on a piece of 1/4-inch steel, and then marked the bolt holes. So when we welded it, we jigged it to that other piece of quarter with other reinforcement and whatnot. And we made that diff cover. This piece here, I think it's 730 thousandths thick. We actually machined it down perfectly to match the surface of the actual housing. Well, let me rephrase that. Ray did. And then we made the cover. You know, it's got the factory bolts and then those extra 3, just in case the tubes break loose. They got something there to keep the housing from wrapping around. Alright, so here we got our custom 4-link. Tubing is 2-inch quarter wall DOM. We do have a Bluetooth drive shaft right now. We haven't got it all made up because, well, we just haven't. We're not that part of the project yet. Lower link, same thing, 3/8 tabs. Where they go? Actually, these are quarter, I believe. The one's way up here. It's a lot of quarter.
Frame brackets a quarter.
Yeah, there's some reinforcement there you can't see because camera angle and whatnot. But anyway, these upper link mounts actually mount to part of the cage, which we'll show you that kind of here in a second. You can kind of see the rust layout of it right here because we got to still clean the frame up a little bit, but it's all surface. But anyway, so I think this bolt here actually attached to, yes, it's that one, to our bar mount, so it's kind of all intertied with the frame. Makes it a little stronger. Sitting static at ride height, 100% anti-squat. We made sure to make that happen. Now, granted, I think it was Ian Johnson that said, you know, starting out at 100% is great. But when you start flexing up on rocks and stuff like that, you can't really calculate it past that. So we're starting at 100%, and that's that. Okay, onto the front end, our 3-link. So I'm resting here on the lower link bar, passenger side. Once again, I got 3/8 plate holding it to the axle, which you can't see. Upper link, 3/8 tower, 1/4-inch plates reinforcement. Can't really see those either because of the angle. Got our diff welded, or cast iron differential welded to the steel tubing. On that side, we had to get a little creative. We had to make a plate actually to kind of wrap around the housing, just because they don't give you enough room. And I really didn't want to cut away the center section, you know, cut a couple inches out of it just to fit a link bar, so we kind of got creative with that. Our panhard, I want to say this is 1.25 inch. Yeah, 1.25 inch, solid stock, solid steel, that we have actually bent by hand with a torch and some pretty good guesswork, and it works perfectly. We have all the clearances we needed. But you know, it comes up here. I mean, you can only see to here, but it wraps around the cross member and then comes up to our bracket way up here. And once again, built in house. That bracket's also tied in with the coilover towers, so it makes it a little bit stronger. We'll probably actually tie it into here as well. But we'll do that later. And then, of course, put a heim at this end for some adjustability. This is a weird size of DOM that we had to make fit over this, and then 3 layers of weld. Coilover brackets over here on the sides. Once again, 3/8 plate, welded to the cast steel, I believe. That took a long time to do. We welded front and back. Heat control is a must with that stuff. But anyway, our third link, sorry, our upper, actually tied in back here to one of our body mounts. It is this really wacky bracket that we made, but it's tied in with a body mount. There's like 8 bolts on this one bracket alone. It's actually one of my favorite brackets on this truck. But once again, the 100% anti-squat ordeal, that's where it had to go. Had to go in a big hole in the frame that was already there. The body mount was in the way. It's like, well, why don't we just incorporate them? The other thing, our link separation, we are set up for, I want to say, up to a 37-inch tire with the link separation, which simply means your link separation should equal out to 1/4 of your tire size. So just for easy math, if you're running a 40-inch tire, 1/4 of a 40-inch tire is 10 inches. So it should be 10 inches from your center here, on your upper link, to the center of the bottom link. That's what your link separation is, or what it should be. So, like I said, we're set up for 37s, if we want to. So, that's the front end. Alright, so another thing we gotta do, we want to lift the tie rod, so to speak, up a bit. Get in some more ground clearance. You know, anyone that's been off-roading has smacked the crap out of the tie rod and bent it, knows that hassle. Here we do have some offset heims. Once again, we did buy in the heims because we really don't have the ability to make them. Those did come from Barnes. Pretty good product. I mean, like I said, they don't sell bad stuff, and we're not talking smack about anyone in their product. We just chose not to buy in kits for this. That's all that is. Parts is one thing. But anyway, so we got our, I want to say it's 2.5 inches of lift here. Door high, and we got our misalignment spacers that Ray machined in-house here. The double shear we welded in like a week ago or something like that, a couple weeks ago. But anyway, we had of course the knuckles are cast iron, so doing the whole cast iron thing with nickel 55 rod. That's kind of a crazy process, preheat, it's all heat control. But we managed to get it done. I think it only took like 45 minutes to an hour per side to get this plate on, and there's another center plate in here you probably can't see too good. But to do that on both sides and strengthen it up pretty good. Knuckles are stock. I think the only other thing custom we're going to do this front end is eventually we're going to build a much more substantial differential cover. We'll see what happens. We'll have to pull that one off, build some jigging for it, and then make our own, or that will just reinforce that one. We haven't made up our mind yet. There will be video on that, blah blah blah. Yeah, but other than that, we gotta get to work. All right, so it's another day in the shop. We're working on the rear part of the cage for the rock crawler for fronts. I think I mentioned before, part of our specification, so to speak, is the cage had to be removable. Chassis of the truck, which here's the whole rear half. Basically, I mean, this part bolts into the rear part of the chassis. Back of the cab sits about right here-ish. This comes up and over top of it, whatnot. Anyway, so basically what we're doing today is finish welding, I guess you could say. Just because of positioning and whatnot, it's hard to get some of these lower welds, and like up here in the crooks and everything where the cab was right here, couldn't get to them with a welder real good. Tried, kind of failed on that one, so we got as much as we could, put as much strength in as we could, and we're going to work on it here now on its side. And then we'll flip it over and roll it over the place. But that's what we're doing today. The truck's not here now. Basically what we do is we brought it here to build all this stuff. All the cage members for it, the rock sliders, the front half of the cage, the front bumper, well, it's just buried over there. We can dig it out eventually. But that was the reason it came here, is so we could do all the heavy fab work, and the axles and stuff too. So that's all done. Back over at my place, I'm doing wiring right now. I may do some video on that. If anyone wants to see that, that's fine. I can definitely make some content involving wiring and how we do it, or our technique, or whatever you want to call it. But either way. So, we got a lot of work to do, so we're going to get to burning some rod and some wire. So it concludes another night at the shop. Got most of our finished welding done on this mammal. There's all little hard spots to reach with the frame in the way and the body all up in here. I think the only other bit of welding we got to do to this is finish off our trunk area and then reinforce the coilover mounts. But for the most part, this is done. We'll probably spend 2 days cleaning this thing up and getting it ready for some paint. And the tenable bed liner is what we put on the front half. So we'll make sure to do that. So at least they match. I mean, they're connected up front there, so yeah, can't have two different shades. See, after that, we're going to be doing some wiring to this truck in particular. So once again, I can make some content on that. That's not hard, but I'm basically building harnesses, installing rock lights, engine harness. I did just all sorts of stuff. We've already done a bunch of it, but there's still a lot more to go. After that, sandblast our two cross members. One for the trans, one for the basically for the sliders, because they're so heavy they try to tweak the frame. Once those are done, hopefully we'll get a transmission back. We're having I'd say one of the best companies on the East Coast. He just happens to be in our area. We're going to have him do the build for us because we don't feel like doing it 5 times. So we're going to have him do it. So that's basically it. This is the crawler. I mean, I know you guys are coming in halfway through this build, but like I said, this is when we started to try and do the whole recording thing. And with that being said, you know, we had some mistakes and whoops, but I think we got it figured out now. We figured out not to put it on time lapse, turn the goofy mic on, and go from there. So we appreciate you watching, and there will definitely be more updates.